Hello everyone, welcome back to Guitar Lessons by E.O.A. In today's lesson, we are going to be looking at polychords. So, what are polychords? A polychord is two or more chords played simultaneously, and they are typically composed of two triads, but can also include seventh chords or more complex chord structures. For example, F major chord over a C major chord, which creates a polychord. So an F over C is basically an F chord with a C note in the bass. Now, some people may think that an F over C is the same as an F chord, which is actually incorrect. An F over C is not the same as a F chord. While both chords share the F, A, and C notes, the F over C chord adds a C note in the bass position, which creates a different sound and harmonic effect. And by the way, the formula of the F over C chord is CFA. However, the F chord formula would be FAC. Now, the reason why it's read CFA is because the C is in the bass. Okay, so now I'm going to give you guys 10 different ways that you could play the F over C chord. All right, I'm going to teach it to you. Okay, so here is the first F over C chord. All right, so this is how you play it. The first finger is on the second string, first fret. The second finger is on the third string, second fret. The fourth finger is on the fourth string, third fret. And then your third finger is on the fifth string, third fret. Yes, C is in the bass. Okay, next one. All right, so you put your first finger on the 8th fret and you press on the 6th and 5th string, and then you put your third finger and then you bar the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, and the high E is muted. F over C. C in the bass. C, F. C again. F, A. Next chord. All right. So you bar the highest 3 strings, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, and then you put your second finger on the 2nd string, 6th fret. Okay, so you bar the 5th fret, right? 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and then you put your second finger on the 6th fret, 2nd string. C. Okay. Now the next one, which is number 4. So your first finger goes on the 10th fret, 4th string. Your second finger, 10th fret, 3rd string. And then your third finger on the 10th fret, 2nd string. Play it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, number 5. Alright, so you put your second finger on the 3rd fret, 5th string. Then your third finger on the 4th string, 3rd fret. Then your first finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. And then the top 2 strings are muted. Okay, now number 6. Put your second finger on the 6th string, 8th fret, then your third finger on the 8th fret, 5th string, and then your first on the 7th fret, 4th string. Okay, like this. And then the top 3 strings are muted. C, F, A. Okay, number 7. Okay, this one's a bit tricky. All right, so you put your second finger on the 8th fret, 6th string, and then the 5th string is muted. And then you put your first finger on the 4th string, 7th fret, and then you put your then you put your 4th finger on the 3rd string, 10th fret, and then the top 2 strings, B and E string, are muted. So B, E, and D string are all muted. We've got C, A, F. Okay, number 8. All right, this F over C chord, you put your third finger on the 5th string, 3rd fret. Okay, so your top string, your low E is muted. See that? You mute it. Mute it. And also, your 4th string, the D, is muted as well. Then you put your second finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. And the B string is muted. And then you put your first finger, 1st string, 1st fret. Okay, so your 6th string, your 4th string, and your 2nd are muted. 1, 2, 3, muted. So we've got C, A, F. Now this one is quite tricky to play because it's like you're holding on 3 strings, but the string above, so the string in the bass and in between are muted. So these 2 are muted. Okay, the 6th string, the 4th string, and the 2nd. 1, 2, 3. 6, 4, 2. 6, 4, 2. You mute those strings, and then you only press on the 5th, the 3rd, and the 1st. Okay, number 9, which is played on the 3rd fret. All right, so what you do, you bar the 3rd fret, but you mute the low E. Then you put your second finger on the 3rd string, 5th fret. Then you put your 3rd finger on the 1st string, 5th fret. Then you put your 4th finger on the 2nd string, 6th fret. So look, C in the bass, C, F, C, F, A. Now please note that certain notes in a chord, or just notes in general, can be repeated. So look, we have C here and C here. But as long as the C is in the bass, it's an F over C chord, which is typically played on the 6th or 5th string, and sometimes on the 4th. And the final one, which is quite tricky again. So number 10, you put your first finger on the 3rd string, 5th fret, your second finger on the second string, 6th fret, right? And then you put your third your third finger on the 4th string, 7th fret, and then your 4th finger, the 6th string, 8th fret. Okay, and then you mute the high E. I'm using my first finger to mute the high E, and you also mute the A string. High E and A string are muted. C, A, C, F. Those are 10 different ways that you can play the F over C chord, which is indeed a polychord. All right, so now I'm going to teach you 3 more polychords, and this time it's going to be in the key of C. So the first one is a C7 sharp 9, which is basically an E flat triad over a C major. So this is a C7 sharp 9. Okay, so to play this chord, you put your thumb on the 6th string, 3rd fret. Then you put your second finger on the 5th string, 3rd fret. Then your first finger on the 2nd fret, 3rd string. Then you put your first finger on the 2nd fret, 4th string. Then your third finger on the 3rd fret, 3rd string. Then you put your pinky on the 2nd string, 4th fret. So you got C7 sharp 9, E flat over C. So there's your D sharp. Okay, look, your D sharp, your G, and your A sharp, and then you got your C, E, G. Okay, your next chord, the next one is C7 flat 9 add. So the add basically means that the 5th is sharp. So C7 flat 9 add is equivalent to a C sharp minor over a C7. Now this one is really tricky to play and is not beginner friendly. All right, so what you do is you put your thumb over the 6th and 5th string, 4th fret. So you bar it like this. You bar the 6th and 5th string, 4th fret, like this. All right. Then you put your second finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. Your first finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret. 2nd string, 1st fret. Then your third finger on the 3rd string, 3rd fret, and then your pinky, your 4th finger on the 1st string, 3rd fret. Okay, C7 flat 9 add, which equals a C sharp minor over a C7. Even I'm struggling to play it. And I've been playing for nearly a decade. Yeah, this is a tricky chord to play. And yes, even though I've been playing for a long time, I still struggle with some chords. There is no such thing as a perfect guitarist. Okay? Okay, so there's your C sharp minor. Sorry, there's your C sharp note. Now, please note that certain chords like this, certain tones will be omitted. So the 3rd is omitted. There's your C sharp, there's your G sharp, there's your E, there's your A sharp. So the E is from the C7, which is the third tone. The third of C7 is E. There's your A sharp, which is the flat 7 of C7. There's your C, which is the root of C7. And then there's your G, which is the fifth of C7. C7 flat 9 add, or C7 flat 9 sharp 5. And the final polychord that I'm going to teach you in the key of C is C13 add 11. And this chord, we're going to omit the third. All right. So you play the chord like this. All right. So the C13 add 11 is equivalent to a D over C7. And it's called add 11 because the 11th is sharp, a semitone higher than the 11th tone. Right, so this is how you play C13 add 11. Right, so you use your thumb and bar the 8th fret, right, 6th, 5th, and 4th string like this. And trust me, even I'm struggling to play this. It's very hard to play like this. Then you put your pinky, right, on the 10th fret, 5th string like this. Or instead of playing the G, we can just leave out the G as well, so we can just leave out the 5th, so that it's easier to play. So instead of playing it like this, we can leave out the 3rd and the 5th, because this is a tricky chord to play. Very tricky. There's your C, and then we just kind of like ignore this note. Or we can play it like this. You see? So we can add the 11th if we wanted to, which is F sharp. Because the 11th is F, and then sharp 11th is F sharp. Yeah, but this one's a tricky chord to play. And to anyone who's a more skilled guitarist than me, you know, you'll find it easier for yourself to play. So basically, what I'm trying to play is this. So basically, so we have, look. We have our major chords. Okay, so this is basically a D over C7. We have our D, F sharp, A. So this is our D chord. And then we have our C7. But we leave out the 3rd. There's your C, there's your G, and there's your A sharp. All right. D major, C7, no 3rd. C, G, A sharp. So let's just pretend that we're playing the chord. So I'm playing this. Can you guys see that? It's very, very hard to play. And yes, I'm showing you guys my flaws on the internet. But hopefully with more practice, I should know how to play it. So, if you guys don't know, in 11th chords, the third is often omitted, particularly in major and dominant chords, due to dissonance created by the 11th, a perfect fourth, with the major third. Alright, so in music, dissonance refers to a combination of notes that sound harsh, unpleasant, or discordant, often creating a sense of tension or instability. Dissonance is opposite of consonance, which describes sounds that are agreeable and pleasing. So dissonance basically means when the music sounds a bit off, like it doesn't sound harmonious. It's creating tension. Alright, so if you guys don't know, many 11th chords incorporate or use polychords, and because of the tension that can create, particularly, you know, when you play with other guitarists who are playing major chords, the third is often omitted in order to create a pleasing sound while those two chords are being played together by two or more guitarists. So when two or more guitarists are playing together, right, if I'm playing an 11th chords, right, and that guitarist is playing, let's say, a D major, right, then I will most likely not play the third in the 11th chord, mainly because it will create tension, right, with the guitarist that I'm playing with. So what do I do? So as I'm playing the 11th chord, the third will be omitted, because if it's not omitted, then it will create dissonance. It will create a sound that is harsh, unpleasant to the ears. Now, some of you may be wondering, what is the point of polychords? Right, so the reason of polychords is because it gives you another way of looking at chord structures. And it gives you more options. So it allows you to expand your horizons and to look at chord structures in a different way. Yeah, so it just gives you another way of looking at chords so that you're able to, you know, impose two different chords together. Because with polychords can make music more harmonious. It can give you a better understanding of chord structures and how you can utilize two chords in a chord to create consonants, to create a different sound in music, so that when you're playing together in a band, it creates a different way of looking at chord structures, and the music will also sound different. Thank you guys for watching this video. Guitar lessons by E.O.A. Stay tuned for more.